Welcome to Maritha's History Corner's third video. Today we will talk about Henry VIII and his life and his time as a monarch. King Henry VIII ruled England for 36 years, presiding over sweeping changes that brought this nation into the Protestant Reformation. He married a series of 6 wives in his search for a political alliance, marital bliss, and a healthy male heir. His desire to annul his first marriage without papal approval led to the creation of a separated Church of England. Of his marriages, 2 ended in annulment, 2 ended in natural deaths, and 2 ended in the beheading of his wives for adultery and treason. His kids, Edward VI, Mary I, and Elizabeth I, would each take turn as England's monarchs. He is also known for the rhyme about his wives, which goes, "Divorced beheaded died, divorced beheaded survived." Henry was born June 28, 1491. He was the second son of Henry VII, which was the first English monarch from the House of Tudor. While his brother Arthur was being prepared for the throne, Henry was being steered towards a church career. With a broad education in theology, music, languages, poetry, and sports. Arthur had been betrothed since age 2 to Catherine of Aragon, the daughter of Spain's rulers Ferdinand and Isabella, and in November 1501 the teenage couple married. Months later, Arthur died of a sudden illness. Henry became next in line to the throne, and in 1503 he became betrothed to his brother's widow. Henry took the throne at age 17 and became Henry VIII, and he married Catherine of Aragon 6 weeks later. Over the next 15 years, while Henry fought 3 wars with France, Catherine bore him 3 sons and 3 daughters, all but one whom died in infancy. The sole survivor was Mary, known later as Mary I, born in 1516. Henry was an active king in those years, keeping a festive court, hunting, jousting, writing and playing music. He issued a book-length attack on Martin Luther's church reforms that earned him the title Defender of the Faith from Pope Leo X. However, the lack of a male heir, especially after he fathered an illegitimate son, Henry Fitzroy in 1519, gnawed at the king. However, in the 1520s, the king became infatuated with a young girl known as Anne Boleyn, who was in his wife's entourage. He was also afraid that God has cursed his marriage to Catherine because of the Old Testament's ban on marrying your brother's widow. The king decided to seek a papal annulment that would free him to remarry again. With the assistance of his powerful advisor, Cardinal Wolsey, he petitioned Pope Clement VII, but was rebuffed due to pressure from Catherine's nephew, the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. Wolsey was forced from power for his failure, and he died in 1530 awaiting trial for treason. With the backing of the English Parliament and clergy, Henry decided that he didn't need the Pope's permission to decide on issues affecting the Church of England. In 1533, Henry and Anne were married, and their daughter Elizabeth was born. Mary was declared illegitimate, and Elizabeth was named as heir. England's monasteries were closed and often sold off to add to Henry's wealth. In January of 1536, Henry was unhorsed and injured during a jousting tournament. When news of his injury reached the pregnant Anne, she miscarried, giving birth to a stillborn son. Henry then spurned her and turned his affection to another woman at his court, Jane Seymour. Within 6 months, he had executed Anne for treason and incest, and married Jane, who quickly gave him the son, later known as Edward VI, but she died 2 weeks later. Henry's fourth marriage bore similarities to his first. Anne of Cleves were a political bride, chosen to cement an alliance with her brother, the ruler of a Protestant duchy in Germany. The marriage only lasted for a few days before Henry had it annulled. Then he married Catherine Howard, but 2 years later she too was beheaded for adultery and treason. In the last years of his reign, Henry grew moody, obese and suspicious, hobbled by personal intrigue and the persistence of his leg wound from his jousting injury. His final marriage to the widow Catherine Parr in 1543 saw his reconciliation with Mary and Elizabeth, who were restored to the line of succession. Henry VIII died 55 years old on January 28, 1547. His 9-year-old son, Edward VI, succeeded him to the throne, but died only 6 years later at age 15. Mary I spent her 5-year reign steering England back to the Catholic fold. But Elizabeth I, the longest reigning of the Tudor monarchs, with her 44 years on the throne, re-entranced her father's religious reforms. Well, that was all for this video. The next video will be out May 5th. It will be about Catherine of Aragon and Anne Boleyn, the first 2 wives of Henry VIII. So remember to subscribe and keep watching the videos. Bye!